Buying, selling real estate, and the 1,000 of pitfalls you avoid when you call Kathy Helbig. Good morning, Kathy.
Good morning.
Let's talk about pricing of the house.
Yes, there is an art to pricing for sure. And a lot of times people just don't know where to start. So the first thing they think is, well, let's start with what I paid for the house.
Okay.
And that absolutely is not a factor whatsoever. So that's the biggest thing. The challenge I have getting through people's head is what they paid for it.
Because the buyer of your house doesn't care what you paid for.
Mm-hmm. If you think if you take yourself out of the fact that this is your home that you're living in, all the emotions involved, what you paid for your AT&T stocks the day you bought them makes no difference with what you sell them for the day you sell them.
Right.
Same thing with a house.
Okay.
Same thing with the things that you put into it. You know, a lot of times people always start with, here's what I paid for it, here's what I put into it.
Right.
So that equals Y. I need to
Barn
get this out of it.
Right.
Barn doors, that's right. So we have to deprogram, we sit down and really look at the comparables and figure out exactly what your house is worth for the market that we're in at the time that you're going to sell it. The next big thing is, you know, the automatic valuations. Everybody always comes armed with, well, Zillow says my house is worth blank.
Right.
Just to give you a little bit of insight about Zillow and Trulia and all those other automatic valuation sites, what people don't know is that this customer or the homeowner can go in and change your house around on what you say the features and the square footage and all that stuff is on Zillow, and that skews the data even more than it was already skewed because it's just taken a bird's eye view. So if you think about what they're doing is they're averaging out kind of $1 per square foot based on data that they have, but now homeowners are going in and changing stuff. So what they're considering square footage isn't what Missouri considers square footage. So it just messes everything up even more so that valuation can be way out of whack.
I found those websites are widely wrong.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Factoring in the upgrades, again, what you paid for isn't what you're going to get out of it. So we have to sit down and really go through the house with you and figure out what did you add that's going to add some value, how much value is it going to add. Then we have to find comparables to your house that has the basic footprint, the basic floor plan and size, and then start plussing and minusing for what they had versus what you have type of thing to really come out with a solid, fair asking price. Leaving a little wiggle room. That's the old way of pricing houses. In the last 2 years, really pricing the house to where you want to sell it at is honestly the best strategy. So it's hard for me sometimes to sit down with people and get that through their head that you don't want to pad at $10,000, $20,000 for negotiations, because everybody's hearing right now it's a seller's market. You're paying list, you're paying over list. And so whatever price you're asking, that's kind of the expectation in the buyer's mind that they're probably going to have to pay. So now they're comparing your house at that price to other houses at that price, not $20,000 cheaper, because they're not making the assumption that you're coming down $20,000. And then the biggest thing people don't think about is the new way of pricing is not Walmart anymore. It's not $299.9 because it sounds better.
Right.
People shop online for houses, and you shop in round numbers when you're shopping in line for houses. So a house that we market at $299.9 instead of $300,000 is not going to be picked up for those searchers that are putting in $250 or $300 to $350. You just by $100, you just fell out of their search because you 100% don't show up. Like you don't exist if you don't put the right numbers in. So strategy and pricing is super important too. And nowadays we can test it. So we have this coming soon type thing that we're allowed to do with the multiple listing service we used to not be able to do before. So we can test that price a little bit before we completely take you on the market.
I like to look at my neighbors' homes and bash their neighbors' homes, my neighbors' homes compared to my home. Like that's a terrible
Everybody
kitchen.
Thinks their house is better than their neighbor's house.
That's
That's a normal phenomenon.
Mine's true. That is true.
Right,
Everyone else is wrong, but my house is nicer than my neighbor's. But I'll say, oh, that house sold for X. I've got a basement and I've got barn doors, so my house is more expensive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in some cases, it does bring your value, up a little bit, but it's not going to necessarily bring it up the full amount that you spent on what your upgrade is. If there's not comps to support it.
Helpful hints from Kathy Helbig. Everything you need to know about buying and selling. Kathy Helbig, she will help you avoid all the pitfalls. KathyHelbigGroup.com, 314-276-SOLD, or KathyHelbigGroup.com. Good stuff.
Thanks.